Okay, so all week we are taking a look at how far people are going to look good. We've looked at Botox, which is still working, I still can't frown. We've looked at slimming pills and we've looked at sunbeds. But what about for those people who really are at their last resort? They need drastic measures, they need something to help. Those people who can't lose weight, and for them it's not just about looking good, there's also severe health implications. Now today I've driven over to the Spire Murrayfield Hospital in Wirral, so I've gone under the River Mersey. It's to speak to an expert here about this last step drastic measure, gastric surgery, which includes gastric bands and gastric bypasses. This is a quick look around the consulting room, and there, could you briefly describe the bed there? It's wider than normal ones, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. A lot of our patients obviously have weight problems, and that has capacity up to 50 stone. It's also wider as well, which is important that people feel like they're not going to fall off. There's about 6,000 operations done last year in the UK. So there's about 1.5 million people in the UK who'd qualify for gastric surgery. So it's not, not heaps of people aren't having it yet, but it's a lot more common than it was a few years ago.
So how do you qualify for gastric surgery? Well, you get weighed, tests are carried out. You need to be at least 5 stone overweight. Your body mass index, which we hear loads about, has to be over 35 or 40. To put that into context, I'm around about 5'3", about 8.5 stone. My body mass index is 19.
We do the gastric band, which is like a small plastic band that sits around the top of your stomach, and we can adjust that.
Another reason Ken knows so much about this is he's been through it.
I had a gastric bypass in 2002, and I lost in the first year 16 stone.
So yeah, major health implications there, but Ken does agree there is a lot of pressure.
People tend to look at fat people and make assumptions about them. Some people think that if you're fat, you're lazy, that you're probably a bit thick. It affects you mentally, it affects your self-esteem, it makes you depressed, it can make you feel miserable, it affects your employment, it can affect your education.
The gastric bands will stay in for life. They're actually made of silicone and parts of titanium, so they don't set alarms off at airports. And it really is the last step for people who can't lose weight any other way.
If there are a small number of people, that's probably true. But we can't base what we do on those extreme cases. I mean, the issue basically is that about 25 or 30% of adults are overweight or obese. And some people are grossly obese. And it starts in childhood, and we parents have a responsibility. The food industry is beginning to be tackled about their promotion of junk food. This is a community issue in some ways, but everybody's got a responsibility.
Obesity is a disease. It's recognised as a disease, and it's complicated as there are many reasons why people eat too much. If it was straightforward, most people would just change it, because nobody's particularly happy being obese.
I am just about to leave the hospital, but to be honest, that has really opened my eyes. I didn't realise the pressure that people who were overweight were under, and to be honest, I feel pretty bad because sometimes I'm guilty of thinking people who are overweight, oh, they should just exercise a bit. But as they've said in there, 95% of the people who are having gastric surgery, which is a drastic measure, every single year are women. That's 95% of 6,000 people every single year just in the UK. And, part of that is health, but a big part of it is the huge pressure on all of us to look good.